Good morning. And I use the phrase deliberately. It's 8:30 in the morning. Whatever would my mum say if she knew I was drinking wine at 8:30 in the morning? It's dreadful, but it's for a good reason. I'm Colin Harkness, wine critic, wine writer, living in Spain and making a living out of the wonderful wines of Spain. I hope in the series that I'm making for YouTube to be able to enthuse you with the same passion that I have for this country's wonderful wines. Now, I like to mix things up a little bit. The two videos I've done so far have a wine bottle staring at you on camera, and I've been talking about the wine in that with a view to helping you perhaps locate the wine and giving you a little bit of information about it as well. And certainly that will continue in this series, but today I'm changing it a little bit. And the reason for that is because I'm aware that it's all very well me talking about appreciating wines when perhaps the methodology isn't actually known to all of us. There will be, of course, wine experts, aficionados of wine who are actually watching this, who will know all about some of the things I'm going to be able to say about wine appreciation. But there'll be some of us who are just learning, some of us who are novices, complete beginners when it comes to wine tasting. So I'm hoping to be able to help you to be able to appreciate wine just like the way the rest of us are. I can tell you a little bit about it. Look, we actually use all 5 senses when we're tasting wine. Now, that might be hard for you to believe. There's one, I think, that some of you are thinking of. Wait a minute, what this guy's on about? We don't use that particular one for appreciating wine. Well, I think that before the end of this 5 sense series, if you like, is completed, I think that you'll appreciate that, in fact, we do. We're actually talking today about the sense of sight. It's wonderful, isn't it, that so many of us are able to see things properly. And my heart goes out to those people who are visually impaired. It must be so difficult for them. Regarding wine appreciation, well, we like to be able to use our sense of sight, and without realising it, we use that from the very moment that someone reaches for a bottle of wine. We start to look at the bottle, we look at the label, and that starts us forming ideas about the wine. And then, of course, they pour it and we have a look at it. Well, that's all very well. It gives us some sort of idea, but it's when it's in the glass that we really get the best idea of what we're actually going to be tasting. And obviously what we're looking at is we're looking at the colour of the wine, and we're also looking at the clarity of the wine as well. Now, I have a piece of white paper here, and a piece of white paper, or indeed my white shirt, that's the only way that you can actually tell the colour of a wine. You have to have it against a white background, and that's why when you go to professional tastings, everything's white so that you can see the colour of the wine. It doesn't matter what style of wine it is, we need a white background. So that's something that perhaps you've learned to start off with. But we can go a little bit further because you'll notice, if I can bring it into shot, you'll notice that I'm actually holding this wine right by its foot. I'm certainly holding on the stem. I'm not holding it anywhere near the bowl of it. And there are 2 reasons for that. First of all, when we're holding it by this bowl of the glass, no matter how clean our hands are, we can't help but leaving a fingerprint on it. And that means that when you're looking at it, you're looking at the wine through slightly cloudiness of your fingerprint. Now, I know it doesn't matter if we're using a €4, €3 bottle of wine. Does it really matter that we're not getting a perfect, clear vision of it? Well, no, it doesn't. But if you're tasting a €300 bottle of wine, you do want to be able to see it fully, and you can't see that through your own fingerprints, and particularly if of course, the glass is dirty. There's another reason as well. Think about the last time that you had a brandy at the end of the meal. I'm quite sure that you actually picked it up and put your hand there so the bowl rests in your fingers in your palm. Why? Because you want to warm up the brandy so it releases some of those wonderful spirits and aromas. Well, we don't want that with wine, because wine should be served at the correct temperature, and the correct temperature allows those aromas to escape without us warming the glass. Now again, if you're tasting not a very expensive wine, does it matter if it's not the perfect temperature? No, it doesn't. But let's start at the very beginning, as the song goes. Let's actually start the right way. And you will notice when you go to the restaurant next time you invite people to dinner, those people who have an understanding of how to appreciate wine, they are the ones who will hold the glass by the stem. They'll hold it, if possible, against the white serviette or the white tablecloth or something white, so that it can actually get a look at, first of all, the colour. Yes, the colour's important. A bright red isn't worse or better than a dark red, but it just gives us an idea, and it's all about appreciation. Also, though, when we're looking at the wine, we're looking at it with a white background and we're trying to see if the wine is completely clear, if it's bright, if it actually invites us into the glass. And that's part of wine appreciation. So, a shorter video this time, but I wanted to actually get this part, the first sense that we use when we're tasting wine, and that's the sense of sight. I'm now swirling it around, swirling it. I'm holding against my white shirt. I'm going to take a sniff of it. But no, I'm not going to taste it this time. Okay, well, that's this week's video, and there'll be another one next week. I hope you've learned something from it, and I hope that from now on you actually take this wine appreciation a little bit serious. There'll be detentions for those who don't. Many thanks. I look forward to seeing you next week.